You are listening to Zen and the Art of Triathlon.
Well, hey there, all you triathlon freaks and geeks, and welcome to another great episode of Zen and the Art of Triathlon, the podcast where we go long on endurance. We learn a little Zen along the way, and then also learn to improve ourselves a little bit along the way. We get the whole package right here on the ZenTri podcast. All right, we have a bunch of really cool stuff this episode. I've got your triathlon news. We're going to talk about Lionel Sanders, Patrick Lange, and Jan Frodeno, Lucy Charles, Danielle Reef. I need to mention some nutrition stuff I figured out with Rob Gray. Got to give him a shout out. And also an observation about social media that I've made. And a injury report. Oh my gosh, I'm so close to being healed up. Heal being the operative word. And then also I've decided to throw in the Zen of anger, and hopefully if I can find time, a couple of tips. I thought I had them written down. Maybe I don't. Where did they go? And also on top of that, an interview with Josh Sprague, the founder of Orange Mud. I just realized I might have been saying Jesse instead of Josh Sprague. Which is funny because I had like a friend growing up that was like Jamie, either Sprague or Spraggins. I can't remember. That was so long ago. And so I get my J's mixed up with the Spragues. So anyway, it's Josh Sprague. Golly, Brett, you should know better than that. So if I say Jesse anywhere else later in the show, replace that with Josh. All right, let's get back. Orange Mud is the company that makes, it might have started out with the bottle carriers. Yeah, he started out with a bottle carrier for while you're running and stuff. And then he moved on to some other things, and like there's these towels they have that wrap around, and then these running packs and stuff. And I'm always fascinated by people that turn endurance sports into a business, and successfully into a business, and how they did it. So we've got a really good interview on that subject, and all their features and stuff, and he's a really cool guy, and he's very easy to talk to, so it's a great interview. So I want you to check that out. All right, it's been a while since we had a show out, so let's not wait too long, and let's get started with the news. Here we go. All right. I don't know which one to start with first, either Lionel Sanders or Jan Frodeno. I used to have a best friend when I was in college named Jan. We all called him Jan. Anyway, we have Jan Frodeno out of commission. He will not be racing Kona. Kona's the big race coming up, the World Championships in Hawaii. What's the date in October? Is it October 9th? I forgot the exact date. But anyway, we have Jan Frodeno out with a stress fracture in his hip, the last I heard. Now, when I was watching the 70.3 Worlds that he was in and won, smashed it actually, he was running off the front. Oh, by the way, it's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Anyway, I don't know, but it's either on YouTube or Facebook. Ironman 70.3 Worlds South Africa, and it is an awesome race. The men's pro race is fantastic. It comes down to Alistair Brownlee, who is just the most amazing shorter distance triathlete probably ever, and then Jan Frodeno and Javier Gomez, who is winning everything and has been, and it's down to the wire at the end. They're running. They all finish like within a minute of each other over a half Ironman. It's crazy good racing. But anyway, during the race, I was like, gosh, Jan is skinny. I just made that just a mental observation. Man, he is skinny. I hope he's not too skinny. Because I got too skinny one time. And you're good for a while, but then it catches up with you. And you actually feel better for a while, especially if you've like done a diet change, like vegan or something like that. All that nutrition from the veggies, right? It's just all the vitamins and minerals like make you feel good. But then if you're not eating enough, and maybe if you need meat or whatever, that's your own thing, then after a while, it's like a version of malnutrition if you're not eating enough. And triathletes are exercising like freaking crazy, so the amount of calories you go through is pretty wild. So it's easy to get an eating disorder in the way that you're trying to go for performance and get lean, and then start having issues. And that was the consensus of when the news popped up that he got a stress fracture diagnosed like a week after the race or something like that. Then you typically don't get a stress fracture in a healthy 30-something year old in your hip. That's like something that somebody in their 80s would get. And I don't know that for sure. That's just what I read. And maybe he is too skinny. And I thought that was funny that I made that observation at the during the race. I was like, golly, he looks a little underweight. So he is out, and let that be a lesson to us. Even if that's not what it is, I'm not saying that's why he got a stress fracture. But be careful with trying to be super lean and racing triathlon. That it may sound like a good idea, and it may be an attractive idea for you, but you could overdo it. So be careful. All right. And then we move on to Jan Frodeno's big competition, Lionel Sanders. Oh, let's mention Patrick Lang first. Patrick Lang he won last year. Lionel Sanders got second. And I noticed a comment that Patrick Lang is kind of flying below the radar, either on purpose or by accident. Like, he's not having like the most spectacular results as usual or something. But I didn't really follow him before he won, so I don't know if his results are upper or higher or lower, than before myself. But that was an observation that I read, and that's very typical. Here's another thing that's very typical of winners of Kona or any big race, Western States 100, lots of things, not just races, but just lots of things in life where you are very successful and get a whole lot of attention. Well, the magic that you used to get to the point where you won in life is now contaminated, because now you're getting interviewed all the time, and you're having to do you have to show up for sponsors and do presentations and do meet and greets and book signing or autographing and go here, and then also a whole lot of opportunities. The girl that won Western States last year, Kat Barad, I think was her name, she didn't even race this year, because of she said she noticed that she was getting too tired and stuff from all the opportunities that popped up. So that's very typical. Do not be surprised if Patrick Lang does not repeat, and that's okay. That's just the way the world works. And a good chance for repeat, I read one time, is somebody that gets 10th, 5th, 2nd, and then boom, they win. Typically they move up. And I think Patrick Lang got second the year before last year, and then boom, won. And Lionel Sanders, this is some great stuff. Lionel Sanders has been posting these crazy videos on YouTube. He's got his own channel on YouTube, and really it's another Talbot Cox, I think is his name, is actually the videographer. He's the one that makes the videos, and he visits pros and takes videos and then publishes them. But Lionel Sanders is much faster than me, but a lot like me, in that he is fascinated by the science of what it takes to improve the body and go faster. I just find it absolutely the most interesting thing in the world that there's formulas out there to make you perform better. And what are they? Because they're a little bit different per person, but let's discover them and use them. And so Lionel already has a habit of posting like these really detailed things of how he trains and whatever. And he gets a lot of criticism for it, because he also experiments a lot, like what I do, because he's trying to nail down for him what works. And like me, I don't think he would be happy if someone just told him, how to do it, and then he did it. He kind of, in a weird way, he kind of needs to own it. Like he needs to figure it out for himself. It would be a whole lot easier to win if he would follow the advice of all the people that are trying to give him advice on how to do things right. But he's doing things his own way. But they're working, and well, mostly. But if you could go back over the past few videos, I would start with the maybe the one before Ironman Mont Tremblant, but the ones about Ironman Mont Tremblant. He had a terrible race, and he was trying to figure out why. Well, it turns out he was messing with his diet, like we were just talking about. And he was under eating and I guess trying to do fat burning and stuff like that, kind of a low carb thing going into the race. And he sucked during the race. And even if you do low carb stuff, the consensus is if you do low carb, you don't do it during an Ironman or leading up to an Ironman. You do it in training, and then racing, you do high carb as much as you possibly can. And the time in training got your metabolism cranking, and now the high carb time is during your race. Rob Gray, who we're going to talk about in a minute, preaches that pretty good. And so Lionel had this terrible race, and then a week out of Mont Tremblant, a week afterwards, he decided, this video went up where he decided to do a self-supported Ironman and test out changing his diet back to the way it was, and testing out his nutrition plan for the race to regain confidence. Basically, you can just tell. He says it at one point, to regain confidence in himself and his abilities, because he just screwed up this one race so bad, and he wants to win Kona, and Kona's coming up really soon. And this blows people's mind that somebody can go out and do an Ironman for training. But honestly, when you're averaging 24, 25 miles per hour on the bike, the amount of miles you cover, and also when you run as fast as he does, the amount of miles you cover goes by so fast that a whatever hour training day for him is, you're covering just massive amount of miles. So it's actually not that crazy. And then the other thing he did is he cut the run short, and he cut the run in half, because the run's very abusive on the body. Get your hip stress fractures. And so he cut the run short so that he could recover faster from it. So it was like an Ironman, but the marathon was only half as long, 13.1 miles. And he posted that he was going to do that, and then he starts off, and then the video stops, and then it's like, more next week, and a week later you're going to get the rest of the video. And this was like a week ago or more. And Slow Twitch, the internet forums, just like freaked out. They're like, some people love it, and a lot of people just hate it. They're like, what is he doing? Oh my gosh, this guy, he's totally like screwing up his life. Who would go and do something like this? And also, his nutrition plan is the stupidest nutrition plan I've ever heard. No, I'm not saying that. This is what people are saying, because I've tried it and it actually works pretty good. His nutrition plan is only Gatorade Endurance, just liquid. And he figured out his how frequently he'd get a bottle on the bike. And it turns out that that's exactly what he wanted, and it adds up to the right amount of calories. It's a bottle every 25 minutes. And he ends up with like 450 calories per hour on the bike doing that. And then, what is that next to me? Is that a Mercedes V8 bi-turbo all-wheel drive? That is a nice car. Anyway, he's causing issues with people that think that you can't do all liquid, for people that think you can't do all Gatorade, for people that think all this stuff, that people have a lot of opinions and biases on how things actually work, when one, things work differently per person, and two, you might be wrong. And so there's all this arguing, and like people like getting crazy on Slow Twitch, and one person's like, he's just a troll. I don't even know if he's even doing this for real. He's just saying he is to get this competition freaked out. And then the crazy thing is the video leaves you hanging. And then the guy that makes the videos got on the forum and he said, you'll find out what happens in a week. And a week goes by and the people start going, where's the video? We want the video. What happens? And then Lionel's talking about he's going to wear a fanny pack on the run with a full-size, it'll hold a full-size, mostly water bottle with his own, with Gatorade Endurance in it. And I don't know how many bottles of Gatorade Endurance he was talking about doing it. But then in this video, he goes over the science, the chemistry and the science and the physics of how much water he's losing, the sweat rate, the salt rate, the carbohydrate rate, sodium and I mean, he gets like super deep in it for a little bit, and he goes over all the numbers and all the calculations and weighing himself and everything and how much it actually takes of what fuel and why his fueling plan will work. And also the consensus is his numbers are rock solid. And if you want a primer on what knowing your nutrition and your intake versus your loss rates are, you gotta watch that video. And it's absolute. There's moments in there where he's doing it like so right, so cool. And if you want to be good at triathlon, you ought to pay attention to that because the numbers are real. And also, but if you don't believe in the numbers, it won't affect you for a while. But an Ironman is so long that eventually not paying attention to the numbers will catch up with you. Not taking enough carbs, not taking enough sodium, not taking enough liquid to replace the liquid that you're sweating out, it'll catch up. So it's real. It's very, very real. Anyway, the second video drops, per se, and the way the first video had ended, it made it seem like he completely failed, right? Just the editing of it made it seem he failed. Well, it was a trick. Lionel Sanders went out there and swam the swim in 53 minutes, averaged 320 watts or something like that on the bike for 112 miles on a 1 mile loop, and then ran the half marathon at some crazy pace, right? And he says, and it looks like his hydration and nutrition was spot on, like he nailed it. And so he got his confidence back and everything. So that's what's going on with Lionel Sanders. And something, I think he might have already gone to Hawaii to start training there. I think Lionel Sanders' big problem that he'll have to face, you got Jan with his hip injury, and you got Patrick Lang with maybe too much exposure and not being able to train, do the magic sauce again this year. Lionel Sanders, his issue is he gets too much in his own head and overthinks things, and I do too. And that's and he gets too experimental and tries different things because he's just unsure of himself, because maybe there's another edge to be gotten, and maybe it's unsure. He just has belief that there's even more gains to be made, and he's just fascinated and just loves the science, of the whole thing, and it is really cool. So go and check out Lionel Sanders' video diary. Then let's see, I've been watching a little bit of the women's race. Oh, Angela Nath. It's not even my notes, but I just noticed that Angela Nath is going to be in the race. She's back. She's a longtime recurring guest on ZenTri. And Jocelyn McCauley is going to be there, so look for them two to battle out. Those two are badass. And then the top contenders are, and the two I just mentioned could easily win too. I mean, you just never know on race day what can happen. But Daniela Reef is just killing it in her training and racing. She looks flawless. A lot of these former Olympic ITU pros are so polished and know what they're doing, like Jan Frodeno, know what they're doing, that they just execute, and then they keep to themselves, and then they execute and keep to themselves, and then show up on race day and just murder it. It's absolutely awesome to watch. So it looks like expect the same Daniela Reef that we've always gotten, which she seems unbeatable. But then Lucy Charles is doing really well in training, and she got second last year, and she was a big surprise, and she was only 23 last year, I think. And so she's only going to, if she doesn't get injured, she's only going to get better and better and better. So right now it looks like she would be Daniela Reef's big competition, and it looks like she's going to be racing, and things are looking good. As you get closer to race day, crazy things happen. We've already had Jan Frodeno have to drop out. I'd say out of 10 pros, you're going to get 2 on average that have to drop out for some sort of reason, like some sort of random injury or some sort of life circumstance. Maybe not 2, maybe 1, but it definitely happens. Okay. Whew. So that's all the major triathlon news. I've been watching for bikes. I want to see if there's a new bike. Anyway, other stuff. Rob Gray, I had a coaching call with him, and he gave me tips. We talked for about an hour, and he gave me tips on nutrition. I basically was able to ask him all my dumb questions about high carb, low carb, intensity, mostly about nutrition, not so much about intensity. But like Lionel says, I know how to train myself. It's just my nutrition that's kind of messed up, and I need help. And it really fixed so much of my stuff. I don't even know how to put my finger on it, but all those dumb questions I got out of my way asking a bona fide, awesome nutrition coach worked. And so I cannot recommend him enough. You can go to robgray.org, ROBGRAY, robgray.org, to find out more about him. He is a Ultraman. Did he win twice? He's an Ultraman champion. So he qualifies for Kona all the time. He's a little bit older. He's my age. He's like 40 something. So he's mature. He's logical. He's super smart. And he will sit down with you and tell you, yeah, that doesn't work, or yeah, that does work. And you can schedule like calls with him, or sign. Man, if you want him as your coach full time, go check him out. So I owe him that shout out because I haven't put out a show since I talked to him. And it was an awesome talk. So I cannot give him enough credit, and go check him out. robgray.org fixed me a lot. And so, for example, my biking has gone, my FTP has gone up about 20 points lately. And so now I know that to qualify for Kona, I need to average about 240 watts. And for like 5 hours or something like that. And my 2 hour long, I'll run for an hour and then immediately get on the bike and ride 2 hours. So I'm into like hour 3 on the bike basically. And I'm averaging like 260 watts. And I was just like, whoa. And it's by fueling smarter and eating smarter just overall. And so I'm like, oh, well, so that's like 2 hours, 3 hours, 260 watts. So you knock that down to 240 watts and don't try it, back off the effort a little bit. Then, you could stretch that out for possibly 4 or 5 hours, So I'm like super, super happy. I'm just killing it on some of my bike rides. I'm averaging 270 watts for an hour. And, that's not sustainable for very long, but I've done it for 2 hours, 265, 200, whatever. And I just can't believe it. So that's some of the results that Rob Gray can get for you as well. So my social media observation is, as I cut back on making shows, and I'm about to explain what happened, why, I noticed that the less I posted stuff on social media, the less I engaged in forums, the less I made podcasts, whatever, the faster I got. So the lesson is, we waste a lot of time worrying about other people's stuff or getting involved in other people's things. And you'll notice that a lot of people that are really, really fast at triathlon, they don't watch a lot of TV, and they don't do a lot of social media is the new thing that I'm noticing. There was a direct correlation between not posting as much about my workouts and everything else, and then my workouts getting faster, or spending less time on social media trying to be, I would say snarky or whatever, but making comments on things and being silly or fun, or, just being involved in stuff. I didn't have time because I was really working on my own thing. And yeah, so if you want to get faster, look at how much you do social media and how much time you spend talking about triathlon, and spend a little bit more time doing triathlon. Okay, there's that. And let's do a little bit of an injury report. It seems like I've had plantar fasciitis for like 2 years now. I'm working on 3 years. And it's really depressing, and it sucks and everything. And it seems like it's all gone, except I have a bit of what feels kind of like a heel spur under my right. Plantar fasciitis is where your arches are sore and tight, and they start to hurt the more you do. Well, the tendon that connects the underside of my right foot to my heel is still inflamed a little bit. And it seems like it's due to a tight right calf. And when that tightens up, it pulls the tendon. It's all connected. So it pulls the tendon under the foot hard against the heel bone, and it irritates it. And so it seems the good thing is that's it. That's my last thing. My left hip hurts off and on, but I think my saddle was too far back or something like that. But that's my last thing that I got to work on. And I think I figured out that I was letting my instep roll in, and then also I'm letting my calf get tight overnight. And there's a cure for that. You wear what's called a night boot, and that keeps your foot from dorsal flexing and tightening up your calf. So your calf actually heals stretched out overnight. And then when you get up and walk, you don't have to rip everything apart, all that healing, to get going again. When it healed in a contracted position, it actually heals overnight in a elongated position if you wear a night boot. And so I need to be doing that more often, and then I think we're there. I'm like super excited. All right, we are going to cover some tech stuff. Hopefully, if nobody breaks in on the phone. I'm out running errands. Always the triathlete lifestyle, doing stuff. Actually, I'm going to the grocery store, getting several things, but one thing I'm getting is Icy Bay IPA. For some reason, I can drink an IPA after a workout, and it doesn't affect me negatively, and I'm actually better the next day. That's the beauty of documenting things. Anyway, that's such a good beer. I found that's the one that just works. But let's see, we have our tech stuff. Okay, first thing is, if you have let's say you have Airpods. We're going to cover Airpods, Garmin watch, and then a funny thing. If you have Airpods and you have multiple sets of Airpods in your house, you might have the chance. For Kai's Christmas gift, I bought him a set of Airpods because he's always out running and he thinks they're super cool and all that stuff. He promptly lost one of them and had to order another one, which I knew was coming. Actually, I made him pay for it. out of his savings. But if you have multiple sets of Airpods in your life, that can get confusing because they only come in one color, which is white, and they're easy to confuse with somebody else's. So you may have like people's at work. It doesn't have to be somebody else in your family. Friends and stuff that have Airpods. If you ever find yourself going, "Are these my Airpods? Are these your Airpods?" Because they're very hard to discern the difference. I've got a trick, and I've done it a year ago, and it still works. It's still holding up. Is fingernail polish. I used red. I took Emily's fingernail polish, and with the brush, put the tiniest dot of red on. Well, I put a medium, like a millimeter across, or two, on the case, so I can just pick up the case and it's got a red dot on it, and it doesn't have to look good or anything like that. And That's my AirPods case, okay? But then what about the actual earpieces themselves? Well, the earpieces, you can put a red dot down towards the bottom, where the silver is. So just a couple millimeters up from where the silver is, put a red dot, but put it on the insides, the part that faces your cheek. And I did it forever ago, and it's still there. And that dot is just tiny, 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 tiny. I mean, the smallest dot you can possibly put. No one ever notices it. But then if you ever want to know if those are yours, or man, let's say you're worried about somebody stealing yours and you want to say, no, those are mine. You can do that. Also, along with that, you can buy silicone AirPod headphone covers, and they'll keep your AirPods in your ears while you're running and stuff like that. AirPods are still by far the best headphones out there for working out at the moment. And let's see, there was something else. Oh, speaking of AirPods and headphones, I'm in the habit of walking out to the pool deck, still listening to music or whatever, and then I get I put my headphones away and my phone's nearby, and but you could still be like close to your locker or whatever. But I'm swimming, and then your watch, if you have a Garmin, this works for a lot of watches, but the one I'm talking about specifically that I know the menu options I'm about to tell you, Garmin 935 and the Garmin Phoenix. I was going to my phone. Well, you're swimming, and your watch keeps buzzing and beeping every time it picks up a Bluetooth signal from your phone. But then you stick your hand underwater, and then it loses the signal, and then you bring it back up, and then it gets the signal again, over and over and over again. If this annoys you, you can turn off your Bluetooth. And for the longest time, I was turning off the Bluetooth on my phone by going through the phone menu and turning it off that way, which is sometimes very inconvenient because you've left your phone back in your locker or something like that. Obviously, there's a way to turn off the Bluetooth on your watch, and it's actually super, super simple to do at the last minute, or if it starts bothering you. If your Bluetooth losing signal on your watch and regaining it is beeping and buzzing and annoying you, if you hold down the top left button, which is the light button, if you hold it down for a few seconds, it switches to a mode where it shows a whole bunch of things, and one of them is the Bluetooth. And you do the top right button, I think, to turn it off, and then also the top right button to turn it back on. And yeah, you've just now disconnected the Bluetooth of your watch from your phone, and from many other things, I guess, if it's connected. And that's really, really cool. And also, I use my Garmin watch. Your 935 or your Phoenix will do this. I use it to broadcast my heart rate on the bike. I don't wear a heart rate strap on the bike right now. And my watch seems to be doing it just fine. And what you can do is you can, because I have a dedicated bike computer, but if you, what was the fastest way? You hit the bottom left button. Yeah. And that takes you into the heart rate mode of your watch or widget. Well then, and it just shows you your heart rate over the past few hours and your current heart rate, like on a graph. That's it. Well, if you hit your top right button after that, wrong button. If you hit your middle left button and hold it down, then it goes to heart rate options. You top right click that, that's a yes. And then go down 2 clicks and it's broadcast heart rate. And now your watch is broadcasting heart rate over ANT. I don't think it does it over Bluetooth. It does it over ANT+, and you can pick that up on your bike computer or something else, whatever you're doing, picking up your heart rate. Typically it's your bike computer or your Zwift or something like that. And yeah, that's how you can use your wrist as a heart rate strap for other devices to pick up. Garmin doesn't own Bluetooth, it owns ANT, and so they're really slow on pushing stuff out to Bluetooth. And anyway, what was the other thing? Yeah, there was that and that. Let me give you a life tip. I just figured out, even though I'm 45 years old and an adult, and I just realized this the other day, but I love these little life solutions that are kind of handy. Is I go to Freebird's World Burrito and I get a burrito, and I got my hands full, I got a laptop, I got all this crap. I got a basket with my burrito in it and my drink, and now I'm starting to try to pour my drink, and then I go over to the lids and I start trying to put a straw. I put a lid on the cup, and then I start putting a straw through the lid, and I've got people around me, as typical, right? You know all this thing, or other people are trying to get drinks and stuff, and I'm sitting there screwing around with the lid and the straw thing, trying to get it to fit. A lot of times it doesn't fit, especially if there's people behind you. You start getting all discombobulated, and you get the lid not fitting correctly, and then you bend it, and then it doesn't work, and blah, blah, right? Here's a life pro tip. When you go to the drink machine, counter, whatever, that's got your paper cups, wax cups, and you're pouring ice and then you're drinking it, and then you're going to put a lid on it. Take the lid and the straw and carry it off somewhere else, and don't try to put it on there at the counter where everybody else is trying to get around you. Go take it and put it on your cup back at your table or something like that. Get out of the way. And a lot of you might know this and be like, yeah, but honestly, like, it just dawned on me. I go, man, this is a much smarter way to go through life, is to quit fiddling with that thing right there. Go do it somewhere else and get out of everybody else's way. Anyway, I thought I would share that moment of clarity with you. Oh, and I just thought of something else. Sorry, I moved locations, and I was ordering these, and I thought I need to add this to the list. On Amazon, I went and found, you can get them anywhere, hardware store, colored zip ties. And you can get different sizes. Small ones are better for what I'm about to tell you. Multicolor, and they come in like, not just like red, blue, green, like primary colors. They come in like pastel, well, like a rainbow of colors, and that's really cool. Because what you can use them for is to tie one off on cables that you use, like your iPhone cable or your Garmin watch charging cable or your Suunto watch charging cable. And the lists go on and on and on. I've got a drawer, 2 drawers full of just cables. And a few years ago, I had a cable that I was trying to figure out how to separate it from all the rest of the cables, because I was always digging that one cable out, and it looks like the rest of them, but it's different. And to do so, I put a colored zip tie on it. And let's say it was pink or yellow. And man, it is easy to find that zip tie, like every single time. And it's easy to tell somebody else that's in another room or digging through an equipment bag or something like that, I need the charger for my bike computer. And they're like, which one is it? And you're like, it's the cable with the green zip tie on it. And they're like, oh yeah, here it is. So anyway, I was ordering some of those, and I thought I would mention that in this set of stuff. All right, back. Get it? Okay, so there's all that. Okay, we got the one last thing, the Zen of anger, before we get into the interview. So another thing that I've been missing about putting out shows is the past 5 shows or 10 or something like that, I've been talking a little bit more about Zen. And it's fun. It's really good. And I've been getting a really good reaction about it, from it. So I've been wanting to put out a show to talk about Zen, and there's so many topics. There's the Zen angle on everything. And once you get it, and it's really cool. And so I like talking about it to help people get it, because I think that more people need to know about Zen and how it works, because it's basically a philosophy, and it makes life so much better. So let's talk about Zen and anger. I recently heard somebody asking a question that he noticed after practicing Zen for a while, that he had anger issues, and they seemed to be going away. And his moment of enlightenment about that was, he was asking, like, is it something to do with, like, I let myself feel the anger more, and then it passes somehow? Is that what's going on? And I told him, yes. Okay, what is going on is if you don't feel your feelings in the moment, then you kind of repress them, and then you don't like fully process them, and then you don't get closure on them. So the Zen thing is to always be present with the now, right? So that's your little reminder, be with the now. So when you get really angry with something, and this can go really sad, or whatever, but let's do anger. This even applies to happiness if you want. But you get really angry at something. The right thing to do isn't act super angry, and feel your feelings that way. That'll just lead to problems. But the right thing to do is feel the anger like running through your body, and say, this is what, we'll say my name. This is what Brett feeling angry feels like. And you'll feel your pulse rate, your blood pressure go up, and it depends on you, you clench your fist, or your hands shake, or you just feel like adrenaline running through your body, and you've got your own little nervous tics when you get angry, your own little reactions. Do you raise your voice if you yell or something like that? Let's say it's in traffic and you're by yourself. You're like, yeah, why'd you do that? And so you have all these feelings about anger, but then watch this. In a little while, a few minutes after the incident, the feelings go away. So the feelings are authentic, they're real, they should not be denied. That's how you really feel, and that's okay. But notice that these sensations, it's a lot of adrenaline and other hormones that are actually running through your body. It's like fight or flight, and you're going to fight. That's what anger is. And you'll notice that after a little while, a few minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes at most, they go away. They're gone. Okay? And now your body is back to normal. And so if your body can process these feelings and get them out of the way, then if you're still holding them in your head, you're imagining this, and you are actually propagating the story of the anger in your head. And watch, you'll forget about it for a little bit, start thinking about it again, and watch, you can recreate that body feelings. You start getting angry, and you start getting those body feelings again from your rage and frustration, when now it's like a choice that you made to recreate or continue the angry situation in your mind. The situation in which you got angry about is long gone, but if you ruminate about it, you can these feelings start coming up again. And there's no point in that, because the other thing is about the here and the now is if your brain and your body is full of emotional baggage from something that happened a year ago or last week, or what you should have said to that guy earlier yesterday or something, then your body's busy and you're tormenting yourself, and now you're unavailable to experience the other feelings of what's going on around you, or observe other things going around you, because you've preoccupied your mind with stuff that isn't even happening anymore. An analogy would be, it's really hard to get a new girlfriend when you've already got a girlfriend. You might run into a problem. So your social life and your commitments and your relationship status is already assigned. So it's already occupied, and so you can't. If you were single and you met somebody that you really liked, then you could date them, but you can't, because you're carrying the, I don't want to say baggage or load or something like that, because that's negative. But you're involved with something else, right? You can't buy a new car until you sell your old car a lot of times, because you got to sell your old car to get the money to buy the new car, right? So you're doing the same thing with your emotions. With anger, you need to learn to let it go so that you can move on and experience other things. You're missing other things in life, like happiness and sorrow and other things, because you're busy thinking about other things that you're being angry about. But again, the trick is to feel the anger fully and feel what it's doing to your body and pay attention to it. Pay attention to the now, let it process through, and then when it's done, you're done. You'll notice it's done, and then you say, okay, we're done with that, and then move on to your other thing, and then watch. It is crazy. Your feelings are temporary, but something in your mind makes you think that they're permanent at the moment, that you're going to feel that way forever. Once you know that your feelings are temporary and they're going to pass, the amount of liberation and freedom that you realize in your life is just absolutely crazy. You can be like, yeah, I'm really angry about that right now, but this afternoon I won't be. So, and then that afternoon somebody would go, hey, weren't you really angry about that? Can you believe that thing this morning? And you're like, well, yeah, but no, I'm working on this and I got to do my other thing. And it's like, whoa. And that's where you get that Zen, cool and calm that people think is so magical. It's really based on just managing your emotions a whole lot better. Not flying around on magic carpets or anything like that. Okay, let's see. That is all of the Zen stuff. I'm sure I'll think of more things after the interview, but let's go ahead and get started with my buddy Josh Sprague, and we're talking about orange mud and the story behind it and how he grew it into a big company and the ups and downs. We even talk about the stitching on the backpacks. That's how close we get into it, how deep we get into it, and it's really, really cool. And yeah, maybe Lionel Sanders ought to look into getting an orange mud fanny pack of some sort to run with better, and instead of whatever he had on. I think it was crazy looking. All right, that's it. Let's begin the interview. Here we go.
Welcome to the next level.
Hey, Brett. Yeah, man. Hey, so sorry. I was on another podcast that ran late here this morning. We had a little technical side on the early part of the call.
Yeah.
So, yeah, terribly sorry. I'm normally not a guy that ever runs late.
Oh, man. I've learned on my laptop when I record a podcast, if my laptop hasn't been very recently rebooted,
yeah,
the Skype recording, the person on the other end of Skype can't hear me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can hear them, but they can't hear me.
Yeah.
And so after a few calls with some really important people that made me look really dumb, I finally figured out the bug, and it was just so like about to call you, I know now, to reboot my laptop, and then that way you can hear me. But yeah, the technical difficulties are classic with podcasting. That's what.
Oh, it's crazy. Well, and like, yeah. I'm one of them guys that I update my phone I'm really nerdy about this. I update my all my apps on my phone every day. Like I go to bed, I wake up in the morning and I go to bed. Every day I update everything. And it's just a weird thing. I hate, like, I'm an email Nazi. When it comes to managing my email, I always make sure I go to bed at the end of every day knowing that I have no pending task. There's things to do, of course, but I will respond. I'm like, okay, I will respond to you tomorrow, or I will get this done tomorrow. That's the way I am. Wow. So when I see like my little notification, I have like 27 updates, it just unnerves me. So I just always update. Well, and we have our own podcast too. Uh-huh. And we use Skype and Audio Hijack, and inevitably, right at the beginning of a podcast, it'll say Skype needs to be updated or Audio Hijack needs to be updated, and I'm like, oh, do I do this now? And normally I'm good now. I don't do it anymore, or I try to do it, the day before just to be safe. Like I did it a while back, and the whole call only recorded me. It didn't record my guest, and I was pissed. So it was so frustrating.
Classic.
I'm like, and I felt so horrible. I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. I wasted an hour of your time. Like, we need to do this again. The only good part was it ended up being a better call, but it is. Yeah. It's, the tech side is always frustrating. And on our side, we're generally pretty good. You know, obviously a lot of people, if they've never been on a podcast before, Skype's usually the first hurdle, usually at a coffee shop, and you hear like everything on the planet behind them. And
yeah, they don't know.
yeah, I had a guy on our podcast last week that he like right at the start of the call, while I'm shooting the intro, I hear him like sucking on his bong, and it was the funniest thing. It took all of my being. I'm like, is that really happening right now? I hear this gurgling and a little bit of small cough in the backside. I'm like, oh my god! When I told my audio editor, I'm like, hey man, we got to edit that out. I really want to leave it in, but in his sake,
that would be awesome to leave in, but you don't know the implications of what would happen down the road with that, because that is gold right there. But yeah, you got
seriously, I did send it to like my social manager, a few other my buddies. I'm like, you got to just listen to the first 30 seconds. and they all were laughing so hard. I mean, it really and the guy, he was just one of them guys where it was expected. It was just hilarious. But yeah, the tech is always fun. That's for sure. Keeps us going. Right.
Yeah. I work in government IT. And on purpose, we have to not be the bleeding edge for stability purposes.
Sure, yeah.
Bleeding edge is a hazard because if it breaks stuff, people expect to pay their utility bill and there not to be any problems. They don't want the cutting edge, method to pay their utility bill.
Yeah.
They just want to pay their utility bill. And if you implemented something that's incompatible with something else because it's cutting edge and you broke the whole system, then you get called to the carpet. Why did you do that?
Exactly.
You let patches stay out in the field for months before you implement them to see how they actually react. And then when a new patch comes out, you actually implement the old patch.
Exactly. I know. Well, and don't you wish you could go backwards?
Yeah.
There's been plenty of times when I upgraded and I'm like, dang, I just want to go backwards, and especially running a business like we do, there's been updates that like Apple has done that has made it not work with various key apps or things we use to e-com for events and stuff and various things. And I'm just like, oh man, what? There should be a rollback, but there often is not.
Whenever
very unfortunate.
We have to implement a change in the system, we have to submit it. If it's a big enough change, we have to submit it to a board, and it takes a week to get on the board's radar. They meet about it once a week, and they all go over it, and then there has to be a backout plan. What is the plan when it doesn't work?
Yeah,
it's crazy. These are big systems, though. Stuff.
Yeah, sure. That's the whole nother level.
All right, well, you ready to start?
Let's do it, man.
All right. I am here with Josh Sprague. How do you say it? Sprague.
Third time's a charm. Yep.
I don't think I've ever heard your last name said correctly by you. So the Josh is with Orange Mud, and we got put in touch with each other, and I was really excited to talk with him because I've actually got some Orange Mud stuff. I've got an Orange Mud towel, which is one of your huge hits. And I have a son that's on a kids triathlon team, and we were at an event, and it may have been nationals or something like that, youth nationals, and they had these towels that were so unique and cool that we bought a whole bunch of them and then sent them off to get embroidered with the team name.
Nice. Well, very cool. I didn't know that. No, thanks.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I actually didn't know they came in all these colors. I was looking at your website, and all the different colors of the towels is really cool. And also, I'm actually, even though the name of the podcast is Zen in Yard Triathlon, I do a lot of trail running. And a lot of what your initial backpack solution, quiver, I don't know, you can tell us what exactly you want us to call it, but it solves a problem that I actually have running, in that running with a camelback or something similar to that, even though I'm tall, it still rubs against the top of my lower back and swings all over the place, and I have to have a chest strap solution and stuff like that to hold it in place. And Orange Mud, if people want to go check it out, orangemud.com is, let me double check, it's .com, right? Yes.
It is.
Yes. It's smart. And then You were the first one to come up with a water bottle holder and centered in the middle of the back to keep it from bouncing around. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah. At least first that I ever saw.
Yeah.
According to our patents.
So you better be the only one, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that story? Because also the other thing that I want you to not hold back on is tell us about how you came up with Orange Mud as a concept and as a business, because a lot of us podcasters, a lot of us triathletes are also kind of entrepreneurial and always messing around with stuff and trying to invent stuff. I've created so many hacks and devices and stuff to add to my bike, for example. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you're doing something that a lot of us wish we had the guts to do, or may have tried but didn't follow all the way through, and you're actually really successful at it. So run with it. Tell us how you came up with all this. Yeah.
Yeah. So Orange Mud, we designed backpacks for running and riding is the whole focal point. And the initial start really came from the triathlon space. So it was after doing Ironman St. George. I think it was 2010 that I did it. 2010, 2011. It was the first year, whatever it was. And I hated handhelds, waist packs. I always have. My background's adventure racing. I've done enormous amounts of adventure racing, over 100 adventure races. And, through that, you become a tinkerer. You'll buy a pack, and the very first thing you'll do is cut things on it, which I don't always encourage. You should at least run with it a few times.
Or when you're buying packs and stuff, one of your requirements that you look at is how much can I hack on this?
Exactly. It totally is. I'm like, okay, why in the world did they have 8 feet of shock cord on this stupid thing? But I'm glad they have it, because I'm going to cut it off this piece. I'm going to put it over here.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of those things that we always did in adventure racing to make things more stable, more breathable, more comfortable for the various sports that we were doing. So, and I grew up a country boy in Kansas. You figure out how to make things work, because, 30 miles from town, and, something goes wrong, you just have to figure it out. So, when I was training for that last Ironman, I'd had this idea in my head for so long, from staring at my teammates' backs while running in adventure racing and riding, of course, where I kind of noticed movement and where it came from on your body. And I always thought if I had a simple solution that mounted up really high on your back, you wouldn't have the heat, you wouldn't have movement, because your body just doesn't move much there. And it'd be really stable. So, and I had some kind of key things. I wanted to carry my electrolytes at quick access, and that was important.
Right.
I wanted to carry gels or backup nutrition at quick access. And then I wanted to be able to run my own nutrition strategy. I'm very, very nerdy when it comes to running my own strategy.
Me too. I'm
not going to
100%.
drink, whatever it is on course. I don't care what it is on course. I don't even care if it's the drink that I use. Use
because
Infinite. I love it.
Even if it's what you use, they could mix it wrong.
And they almost always mix it wrong.
They always mix it
wrong.
wrong. You see them
almost always mix it wrong.
Gatorade into a cooler and then kind of stir it a little bit. All that sugar's at the bottom, and it's just flavoring in the rest of the water, for example.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's frustrating. It's amazing how many times I've been in a race and I drink something, because I'm like, oh yeah, cool, tailwind or whatever, this should be good. And then you drink it, you're like, what in the world did you do? I'm like, oh yeah, we only had a small tub. I'm like, for 5 gallons? I'm like, jeez. So that's why I'm really nerdy. I really don't ever count on a race to provide my nutrition, and I don't think people should. I think people should look at it as a backup, personally. But that's why I wanted to make this pack, is so I could run my own strategy, training, racing, and I don't have to carry it in my hands, because I don't want to lift weights when I'm running. That's not the intent. So I don't like handhelds for that reason. And in waist packs, they squeeze your waist, they cause GI distress, they're heat, they bounce. Your hips kind of move in a cylindrical fashion. So that's where I kind of late one night, I went in the garage and I destroyed a fanny pack, a gun holster, a tie down strap, and I kind of sewed this crude concoction together of a little but diverse hide quiver, essentially. And I went out for a little quarter-mile run. I came back and told my wife, hey, we're going to start a business. It's probably going to cost $50,000. Worst case, we'll have 2 backpacks worth $25,000 each, perfectly designed for us. And best case, we can actually sell these if we can make it look like it's worth more than a dollar, which is what it looked like at the time.
Yes.
And
it looks cheaper than the amount you've spent on putting it together.
Oh yeah, because it straight up took $50,000 to get that first product to market. It was $54,000 it cost us that first year. Yeah. And I mean, my God, when you really look at, I don't think a lot of people appreciate the amount of money that goes into prototyping, legal, patents, business, all the business junk. There's just a lot. to make a product and then build it, inventory it, make colors that makes everybody happy. That's crazy. All the little variables, but yeah, so we launched our first product called the Hide Quiver. It works just as well for guys as well as girls. My 5-year-old daughter can use it. Someone that's 6'5" and 300 pounds can use it. It's what's really cool about our single and double barrel based packs is they literally will fit everyone.
Right.
And that's really unique. And then from there, we expanded into bladder-based packs and soft flask packs and kind of different sports, different types, different desires. Some people don't want to drink from a water bottle. Some people want to drink from a hose. Some people don't want to drink from a hose. They want to drink from a bottle. Some people want to drink from flask. It's really bizarre, all the different requirements or requests that we get from people. But yeah, and then in the back pocket of the Hide Quiver, you have room for your phone, your wallet, your keys, cash for the beer garden afterwards in a race. And I think all those things are important too. So yeah, every one of our packs kind of is designed around carrying your essentials for whatever type of race it is you're trying to tackle.
So one thing I do, you're right about, I've had a lot of success with the waist pack, but you are 100% correct. If you wear it too tightly, it backs up stuff in your stomach.
Yep.
And the difference between too tightly and not tight enough is like a centimeter. And then
so tight. Yeah.
It changes how much weight you're carrying on your waist. Like as you drink your water bottles, they can, you have to adjust how tight you're holding it.
Yeah. And your body changes so much too.
Yeah.
Like I just did the Level 100 mountain bike on Saturday, and I've been doing this ketogenic diet now for about roughly 2 months. I think it's 7 or 8 weeks. And so I haven't been getting hardly any calories, but then all of a sudden I was consuming tons of calories and carbohydrates, or I should say I really haven't been getting very many carbs. But I'm drinking my normal nutrition mix, and man, my belly, I could see it literally growing. I'm like, holy crap, this is weird. But I think it's because, my body has been going, maybe not full keto, because we have been just kind of, not 100% perfect with it, but it definitely responded to all the different, all the carbohydrates I was pumping into it. And that just changes the game. It changes the fit of my bibs, my jerseys, my vest, because it was cold in the beginning, then it was wicked hot. And, all these things, everybody has the same variability. There's always something that changes in your body, and it may not just be just your pack, whether the bottle works great in the waist pack when it's full, but not midway or not empty, or vice versa. There's always kind of these sweet spots. And by shifting the pack up to your high shoulders, you eliminate all that hassle, and you don't have to worry about it. So it makes it kind of nice. And
then something else that you're able to do with yours is something that I always harp on with cycling, at least, is using clear water bottles so you can see how much you've drank and how much you got left. And when you're, if you want to do that, if that's important to you, if you're using a bladder, you really can't see how much you've consumed and how much you've got left. And with water bottles, you actually can.
Yeah, and it's actually a really good point. It's where people ask me a lot, like, well, why would I buy your bottle-based pack versus your bladder pack, or vice versa? And that's usually one of the things I tell people. You need to be pretty scientific with your nutrition plan when you're using a bladder or even a flask, because the difference is that it's usually blind. You don't know where it's at. You have no idea. I've hit aid stations before, and I've seen people to hit aid stations, 5 hours into a race, and they drank 10 ounces of water, and they think they've drank 70, and it's like your bladder's full. And at least like for me, what I've done, I've literally calculated it. I take 3 like decent drinks every 15 minutes, and that equates to 20 to 22 ounces per hour. That's what it works for me. It's the way, like, my suck rate on a bike valve, if you call it that, the flow rate, with the way that I do it is pretty scientific, and I can be pretty accurate, but I screw up a ton of times too. When you're, especially like in a mountain bike race this weekend, you get a little bit off, or you take 2 hard drinks and you think that's right, but then you get in, you're like, oh yeah, I still got more left. But the nice part of a bottle is every 15 minutes, a quarter of that bottle should be gone. Right. And it's that simple. It doesn't need to be complicated. It's easy to catch up. It's just easy to manage. So yeah, that truly is a really strong benefit of using a bottle-based hydration strategy, especially in a race. I've done really hot races, like half Ironman. Soma half Ironman years ago was like 98 degrees or something stupid. And, I was able to say 3 cups ice, 1 cup water. That's all I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I put my mix in, and that way I could run an ice cold fluid throughout the entire run. You can't do that with these itty bitty little waist packs with itty bitty little bottles. So you can't fit ice in unless you want to sit there and like melt each one and stick them in there, which no one does. So, and again, I could run my exact strategy. So yeah, I'm a huge proponent of the bottle based packs. I think they're fantastic for managing nutrition, especially if you're one that isn't maybe as scientific in your approach and how you do some of these races.
Yeah, the one thing I coach people on is if they're doing a hot race is a ice bottle on, say, an Ironman, because the run is usually by mid-afternoon, early afternoon to mid-afternoon, and it's usually hot. And when you go through the aid stations, fill up a bottle with ice. But to do that, you have to have a wide neck bottle.
Definitely.
And then what you do is every once in a while you dribble the bottle over your head with ice water. And
exactly.
It makes a massive difference. But it would be nice to be able to store it somewhere so you can run without it messing up your running form.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And it works just as good. I mean, our packs, they don't work as well cycling. Not our bottle-based packs. Our bladder-based packs are great for it. But for me, like I did a race this year in Kansas called the Macy's 100. It's a gravel bike race, 108-mile gravel bike race. It was absolutely torturous. Yeah. And it was insanely hot, insanely humid. It rained like an hour before the race, like a half an inch, which made it just suffer fest.
Now, this isn't the Dirty Kansas, right? This is a different race.
Yeah, I did Dirty Kansas. That was 3 weeks or 2 weeks later after Macy's.
Yeah.
And that was also hot, and I implemented the same strategy.
Okay.
But yeah, I tell you, and what I did in those races, and it saved my bacon, is that I took an insulated water bottle filled with ice, clear to the top, a little bit of water, and that's exactly what I did. I just sprinkled a little bit down my neck, my back of my neck, whenever I started really feeling the peak hot happen. And it's amazing what it does. It's not just make you feel better. It's your power goes up exponentially. I mean, it's a lot. Like on the bike, it's probably 20, 30, 50 watts. I mean, it's a difference of when you're overheated, you shut down, or at least for me, I shut down. But man, just that little bit of sprinkle of ice cold water, it snaps you completely back into a good state. It's bizarre what that does.
I've done a couple of races where on the run, pouring ice water, just dribbling it wearing a visor. That way I could get it right into my, into my scalp. I've actually gotten, even though it's nearly 100 degrees, I actually feel cold because of because it's ice water, on your head. And then seeing people around me, it's funny. It's really funny. Noticeably, suffering extremely badly in the heat. And there I'm running. And what's really funny is I always get heads turning around as towards the end, you start passing people because they're fading because of the heat exhaustion. And as I jog by, my water bottle, you can hear the ice in it. It's going ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. And then everybody looks at me and every once in a while I'll get somebody that'll say, man, I wish I thought of that.
Yep.
Well, it's really simple. It's totally available. You can do this.
Exactly.
Yeah. So tell me about how you started the business. I find this really fascinating. And didn't you had a career and you left it to start doing this, or how'd that happen?
Yeah. So I came up with the idea of our pack when my boy was 3 months old, and which was a terrible decision to start a business. It's just like you're already like kids are so expensive. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So that was kind of frightening in itself, but it was because I wanted the pack first and foremost. But second was that I really looked at both of our jobs. My wife was a corporate attorney and I was a corporate exec, and both of us had jobs that were extremely demanding. And I was like, okay, well, one of us can't work, at least not full time. This is like, it was just unbelievable. And we knew we were going to have another kid. And, with our jobs, it just didn't work. You can't just work, a 40-hour week just wasn't possible, let alone a 20 or 30-hour week. So it was kind of that thought is that this was going to be probably more of a hobby in the beginning, to be honest. I didn't think that, like, I'd had this one idea in my head for a long time, but I just had the one idea. I didn't honestly think I'd be coming up with a whole bunch of different things. So we made the first product, and it took about 10 months to get it to market. And this was January 2012 when we started We launched it October 2012. And so the whole thought was, get maybe 5-10 products on the market was hope and a wish. And I thought, well, you can run it and, still be mom and still have, full engagement with, day job and stuff with Orange Mud too. And I'll get to play and this is going to be fun. And again, I of course hoped I could quit my job, but I just didn't, we lived in California at the time. It's expensive as heck out there. And I was like, that's probably just not going to happen. But as our business started growing, I'm like, okay, I think if we get 10 products on the market, I think I can quit my job. And not like we'd be rich, but I was like, but we can maybe at least live, maybe. So I ended up quitting my job 3 years in. And when we had 14 products on the market is when I finally quit, 14 core products. And that year we barely made any money at all. I told her that day we went to the top of the food chain to the bottom in one day when I quit my job. But it was the best decision I've ever made. I mean, it was scared. We were both scared to death. Finally that day when I came home, like, okay, sweetie, well, we're both full-time Orange Mud. It's a good thing we don't even make enough money to pay our bills. Yeah. But yeah, it's been something that I knew if I could dedicate my time fully to it. And as my daughter and boy both got a little older and we knew that Beth, my wife, could also dedicate her full time to it, we knew we could grow the business or at least we hoped we could really grow the business in a smarter way. We could grow smarter, faster, and quicker. And we did. And it's fortunately worked out, but it was not without an enormous amount of anxiety and worry about, is this actually can we actually do this? So there were definitely some points that, it was just frightening, but it's really taken off. I mean, it's been amazing. We've been in business 6 years of selling products come October 27th this year. And we have, 300-400 SKUs now of products. And
SKUs include like different sizes?
Sizing, colors, and all that, and apparel. But we do a lot in all the different categories. And, hydration is our big baby. The transition wrap is a huge component of our wholesale and international distribution. But our hydration pack's huge internationally as well as domestic. And then everything else in between is it's all the kind of filler stuff too. So we've really worked to build out a business design that is making the best gear to make you enjoy your run or bike, triathlon, whatever it is, and supports you doing it. And that's kind of been the whole focal point.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of advice on people quitting their job to pursue their passion, and the best that I've ever heard is kind of this middle ground. And so you had your ideas first, and see, that's the wrong time to quit your job before you actually made it work.
Oh yeah.
But then, so what they say is like what you did is you get it off the ground and you get it started, and then you start seeing a clear path and a little bit of success, and then you can start thinking about it. People that give up everything for their life goal, whatever they want to do, well, they don't have any resources because it's going to get tough, and they're going to need some cash and a place to live for a while they're working on this. And
yeah,
another one that's similar though is people talk about going pro in triathlon, and some really good advice I've heard which is a different scenario, but if you want to be great at triathlon, then and go pro, you need to go all in, but at that point, you've already got the background. You're already qualified as a pro, and you've proven that you're pretty good. And
sure.
And then you actually say, okay, I'm going to quit my day job and then train full time. But then I got a question for you about your products. Has there been anything because this is hard to do, is there anything where you've had to kill a product and say, this one's not, and does that hurt? Like, I really wanted this one to succeed, and no one's buying it, so now maybe people don't want it as bad as I thought they would.
Yeah, I mean, we fortunately haven't had to kill anything. We have this one pack called the Sup Sip. It's I designed it. I was out stand-up paddleboarding in Hawaii, and I saw this girl getting blown to sea, and I couldn't believe no one on shore saw this. And the girl and I were the only two people on the entire ocean at that time. The winds were just insane. I'm down on my knees paddling as hard as I could trying to get to shore. It took me like an hour and a half to get there. Once I'd seen her, and I told the lifeguards, I'm like, dude, there's literally a girl getting blown to sea out there. And it made me think, I need a place for my room key, a bottle, and some maybe nutrition. And so I made this cool leg mounted hydration pack for stand up paddle. I still think it's one of the coolest things out there, and we still sell it, but we just saw like, it's not something that gets good traction. And as a result of it being so different than the rest of our product portfolio, I don't want to like email out and tell all of our, tens of thousands of email subscribers like, hey, buy our subset, because no one gives a crap because it's not our audience. So there has been things like that, or, there's people like, you should make this or make that. And it's like, well, it's not really our audience. And that's the one thing you learn, is that once you've developed an audience, you just need to be mindful and treat them with respect and not hitting them with crap that isn't relevant to them. So that's probably been the hard part. And then like another one, my ambassadors the other day, I posted a picture of a design, it's a theory that I was working on with a color scheme on a pack. And I thought it was genius. I really thought it was amazing. And they were all like, it was very like maybe 0.25% supported me. The rest of them are like, dude, sorry, Josh. Well, normally I like your stuff, but that's just dumb. I'm like, okay.
That's just dumb.
It kind of hurt my feelings, but I'm glad they were honest with me. I mean, I really appreciate it. I got like, probably 200 comments of don't like it at all. It's terrible. Yeah. So yeah, we've been lucky that certain packs, maybe like a new one will come out and it'll cannibalize some of the sales of the existing, but there's still, what we found is that as our pack portfolio has grown, what it's done is it's shown us the demographic that buys a certain pack. If you're a really large chested lady, maybe a middleweight lady, we see like a lot of them love our double barrel because there's no chest strap, and it's really comfortable for them. If you're a super petite female or a super small runner guy, you might really like the single barrel, or maybe the gear vest or the PFV. If you're really fast, you might like the PFV. So it's been really neat to see sometimes where, before we kind of thought like, okay, this product fits this box. But as the products grew, we see, okay, this box now is very specific in this demographic, and this is what makes them the most happy. And it helps us because then we can tell people like, okay, look, for your build, I wouldn't suggest this pack, even though there's plenty of people like you that like it. Most people prefer this one. And so it's been really if anything, it's kind of helped to shift things more so than it has like maybe squashed a product so far.
So how do you do? Well, I agree with you on I'm a very creative person, and the office I work at, there's only like one other person out of 30 that's creative. The job just doesn't require it. So there just happens to be like one other person that's really creative. And I'll get up in front of the group and say, oh, we could just totally do this and this. And like that one other person's nodding his head, right? Yeah. He gets it. Everybody else just stares at me with this blank stare. They're like, I don't understand. And I'm like, no, if you got to see to the future, like this could totally work. And they're like, no, I don't get it. And you can't sell it to them no matter what.
Yep.
I got a question on product testing. So how do you actually, let's say you come up with a new design and you're going to test it out. Do you wear it, or do you put it on? You got testers that try it out, or how do you do all that?
Yeah, so we've taken a very different approach in this compared to some brands. And so, yeah, I mean, I personally test the crap out of everything. I mean, I never release a product unless I feel it is dialed in and is going to work really well personally. I'm always the first tester. I'm the guy that literally sews it and makes it. Also, I've learned to sew very well now.
That's your tradition.
Yeah, I know, right? It's actually funny. My wife's like, "Hey, Lexi's shoes, the Velcro is worn out. Please fix them." I'm like, "Okay, I'll put them on the sewing machine." But it's been fun learning how to sew with industrial grade equipment, because I can literally make anything I want now. And so I build it based upon feedback, of course. So like it's been one of the key aspects of the ambassador team, but again, from customer feedback and social media activation, is that we get tons of feedback. And I hear from, these different outliers in the scale of fit, with how things work for them. And then I, of course, listen to everybody in the middle. And we keep a big design note folder. I keep a big design note folder.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
So as, anytime I'm designing a new pack, I take all the feedback that I've had over time, and then I implement that into whatever it is. So most of our packs are universal sizing, and they actually work because we do some unique things that are very different than the rest of the market. And, a lot of our competition will have 5 or 6 different sizes. That's not only terrible for a retail store, that's terrible for a consumer, because a consumer is going to have a hell of a time trying to make that thing fit right.
Yeah.
And then in the end, all they're really doing, in many cases, not all, but in many cases, all they're really doing is making the straps a little bit shorter. And my pitch to everybody is, I make that strap long on the side, cut it once you figure it out in the sweet spot for you. Because I want to make it as universal as possible, to where maybe you're a 4'11" and 90 pound female, and your husband's 6'5" and 260. You both can wear the same pack. Maybe it won't always work, but in many cases it will. So everything I do, I try to make it universal and fit. It's always the first and foremost goal. I personally test the crap out of it. And then I have some key people that I use. They're good friends of mine that help me test gear and give me, honest feedback and say, this sucks, this is great, whatever, where I really believe they're not going to just tell me I'm great because I designed it. They will literally tell me, sorry, this sucks.
Yeah.
Which
I've
I
got
appreciate.
friends like that too.
Yeah. And those are really important friends to have. You don't always want them around. But
I just asked a friend that this morning. I asked him if I was in a meeting with him a few days ago, and I said, did I sound like an idiot, or just like I wanted to learn more?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's always
he said a little bit of both.
Yeah. It's always a balancing act.
Yeah.
But yeah, then from there, like we've always kind of called it a soft launch. With what we do with launching a product. So, a lot of brands, it's funny. People are like, oh, so what's your spring 19 catalog looking like? I'm like, I don't know yet. I haven't got there. It's not spring yet. Because I'm always working on new designs. We have a ton of new things always in the works. And I launch it when it ships from my factory and arrives. That's what it is. People are like, well, what's launching in spring? I'm like, I don't know, but this is launching January 12th. Oh, why the 12th of January? Because that's when it got here. Like, that's how we do things. So I think it's been a lot more fun that way. And then what we do is that, as these new products finish up, we launch them, we push them out to our audience. We say, give us feedback, run with them, test them, our ambassadors, our customers. We're getting real world feedback, because everybody is different. Everybody has a different opinion on how something's going to work for them. Everybody gets hung up on, different things. Maybe certain people are like, why is this hose too long? Why is this hose too short? Why is this hose, 1 inch too long? I mean, I get the weirdest things. Yeah. And, so what I want is real world feedback. Unfortunately, your test data is nearly impossible to have 10 people run with something and know exactly, like, that's going to work for 20,000 people. It just doesn't work. I'm always surprised by the outliers of what, there's always some piece of feedback. I'm like, yeah, I guess that doesn't work for you. There's always some little weird thing. Maybe like person A has too long of maybe a longer neck than most people. And as a result, this one pack fits weird for them. And, I get the weirdest thing, broken collarbone.
Well, you just named something that I have. Ones. I actually have a long neck.
I'm telling you, long neck people, you guys, that's why I have the bottle long, adjustment on the back of the pack.
I went to get fitted for a tuxedo for a wedding one time, rent a tuxedo.
Yeah.
And I was a swimmer, and I did military school in the Corps, ROTC. So I did a ton of push-ups, right? So I've got a skinny neck and just a big chest from doing push-ups all the time.
Yeah.
And they said, we called in I got measured at one store, and then we called in my dimensions to another store because I was going to have to rent it out of town. And they said, there's no way, these dimensions are wrong. There's no way that somebody has such a large chest and such a skinny neck.
I bet.
Yeah. And I was like, no, that's me. Sorry.
Yep. But, yeah. And, guys like you, big traps, because a lot of times you say wide chest, it's really big traps. Big traps can be weird with fit. It's why going from my endurance pack version 1.0 to 2.0, it's the reason why I made it 1.5 inches longer in the front, is largely because of you outliers that, the big, like the gym rats, the ones that do 500 push-ups a day have really big traps. The angulation of your traps makes the pockets fit different and the straps on the side fit differently.
Yeah.
So we made that longer largely for you guys. But ironically, we made it longer and changed the hardware a little bit up front because it also fit better for some of our 4'11", 90-pound runner females.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really weird how something that can be for someone completely different can be a benefit for somebody completely different. So the feedback is it's essential. It's mind numbing to keep up with, but at this point, I ask everybody for a review. I have a personal note that goes out to every single person that buys a product from our website, asking for feedback, and we get a lot of feedback. And as a result, there's definitely, like, now when we go to market on something, I do know. I just know better than most on what's going to work versus not, because I am the guy that responds to every question. My wife or my sister, between the three of us, we're always the ones responding. But it's mostly me when it comes to any feedback, any questions, and on fit or whatever. I'm the one that's I personally, I love it. I love to communicate with our audience, and because it helps me too. It's a double win. So it's been a lot easier now to get those designs right. Where in the beginning, it was very confusing. It's the human body there's just so much variability between all the different shapes of sizes of men and women out there.
I just noticed something looking on your website at the arm coolers or arm warmers, because they can work either way. You've got a really cool piece of branding on them that actually is all over your website too, but it just gave me an idea. Here's the creative mind going. Here's some feedback for you. This would be really, up to you to implement on how.
Sure.
But that's why you're running the business. Okay, so on the white and also the grayish black arm warmers or coolers, you've got something really interesting. You've got the graphic of orange mud splattered across the sleeves.
Yep.
That is so unique, and that's like branding for you, because it's on your pictures all over the website of the product. You also do the same thing, like in the corners of the pictures. And what's interesting is so somebody sees that orange splatter on the sleeves, and they, from across the room, and that's where you're trying to get somebody, they go, "Hey, you've got something on your sleeve," and then they come over and then they touch the fabric. And they go, and then you say, "No, it's made like that," right? And so you've hooked their interest. They're like, "Oh, that's cool," and then that kind of makes them want to have the same thing. And
true,
because marketing, right? People should know in marketing, you got to get people's attention, and that's just really, and you got to do it almost kind of like subconsciously, right? Like you can't just yell, "Look at me, look at me." Like if you can hook somebody in, kind of they feel like it's like they hook themselves in, then they've got investment in it. They're interested instead of you pulling them in. And so I was thinking, like, that is such a cool look on that sleeve. And then like on your backpacks, if you could put that same like orange spray of dots like on the backpack, like on like a quarter of a panel or something like that.
Right.
Like that's in one way, that's your logo. Like it's orange mud on it, and everybody would recognize it. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that's where we've struggled a little bit on, and we do get feedback from customers quite often as far as saying, "Hey, why don't you have a bigger logo on your packs?"
Yeah.
And I've kind of followed the BMW, Mercedes, Toyota,
not the Dodge Ram in giant letters all across.
Yeah. So I've kind of followed that conservative approach to where, my whole design intent with packs from the very beginning has been that I want you to focus on the run, or I want you to focus on the ride. I don't want you to think about your gear. I don't want you to have to adjust your gear. So that's been the whole focal point. And in our designs, it should be stable. It should be a piece of your body, not some separate turtle shell. It's a pain in the butt.
Right.
So, with the branding, I've struggled a little bit. And so there's two sides to that. There's one, like, I totally agree with your idea. It'd be awesome because the paint, I think, is like the paint splash is so subtle that it goes with it, and it's still subtle because it's not like a name on there.
People come over to like scrape it off for you, and it doesn't come off, and then they go, "Oh, this is part of the material. This is so cool."
Exactly. Yeah. Well, but so there's two aspects. So there's the one of trying to keep this more conservative, clean, consistent look that has that lifestyle, everyday look that is that is not a trend. It's a kind of a it's a professional life, piece that's going to last a long time. But there's the other part of me that comes from the manufacturing background, where the design for manufacturability prospect is total pain in the ass when you do that, because it's like, okay, how are we going to get that paint splatter just right and to be consistent from product to product to product, and maintain that uniformity and design and look. And that's the other side too, where there's so many things that are so cool to do, but it's not always the easiest. And then, like in the beginning, we used to put our logo used to be reflective on the back. Oh, okay. And I thought it was so cool. But the fabrics I use have a waterproof treatment on it. They're still extremely breathable, but they have a waterproof treatment. And those two things, waterproof treated fabric and basically heat adhesible reflective, those two things don't like each other. Yeah. So like we'd have our logo peeling off in the beginning, then all of a sudden I have a completely unbranded pack. So there's things like that are also challenging. Hence why we've really averted and stuck with the woven patch sewn on. And and as we grow, there's all these things I keep learning too. And I have an amazing factory. I've got a 70-person R&D team to help me out when I'm designing new things, that I can say, hey, I want to do this. I don't really know where to get it or how to source it or what to do. And they're like, don't worry, we'll take care of it. And so I can do things now that I didn't used to have at my disposal. And as we have grown, our scale is bigger. So it's easier to say like, okay, cool. Let's buy 2,000 of those to start it out and let's try it. Before it's like, let's buy 100 of these packs. We are definitely not going to do anything special for coatings or, coloring or anything like that for you. So there have been things that have helped us have gotten bigger, but again, it's kind of like, all right, what area are we going? Are we going conservative? Are we going to try a little trendy something here or what? And it's a never ending, it's a moving target all the time to keep up with.
So like what you're talking about, that opposite end of the spectrum, that really slick professional look. If people want to go check this one out, I'm on the page right now. The Adventure Pack 20 liter. Yep. So this is the Mercedes. It's black with just a hint of like orange piping on it. And that's branding too, right? Your color is orange. And that thing looks pro. Like I see somebody show up with that thing, I think they know what they're doing.
Well, and what's funny is that started as a mistake. Yeah. So, when I first launched the Hydra Quiver, we launched it in all black, a gray, a brown, and initially it was just all black thread. And I asked my factory, I'm like, hey man, can you guys use some orange thread? And they used the orange thread. It was a brownish orange thread, so it was really subtle. Yeah. And I got it. I'm like, oh, cool. All right, cool. Let's go to build. And then so we launched, and all the products came in, and they had this vibrant neon orange thread. I'm like, what did you do? Like, what are you thinking? I'm like, holy crap, I'm never going to sell these. No one's going to buy these. And we launched it at the Soma Half Ironman. And everybody, no one wanted the all black pack. Everybody wanted the black pack with orange stitch. I'm like, I love it. Shit.
It's cool looking.
This is crazy. Yeah. So it started as a mistake. All of our orange accent thread, which is across our entire product portfolio. Yeah. Or we use accent green thread. We use accent pink thread. It's become a staple of what we do because everything we do is extreme quality. And you can't do that in some sloppy factory. You have to have high-end factory. People don't appreciate how awesome your sewers have to be to have an accent thread because it shows every imperfection. Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? So, I would challenge anybody, buy one of our packs and then compare it to any pack you have. And you will see our sewing, aside from our thread is military grade, which no one else you're probably going to even find has that. Our sewing is just superior. And it's like my team is amazing that makes these for us. And but yeah, it's really all started as a mistake. And then if anything, it's been something my factories have given me crap about over the years. Like, dude, you realize how much of a pain in the butt this is? I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, but it's what we do.
I like it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it's been a nice way to put a little spin. I look at it as like when I was in the medical device business. I'd wear a suit, but I'd still wear a pair of brown leather Cole Haans as opposed to black, just because I felt like it was a little more athletic and it was a little more fun. Yeah. And then my buddies would give me crap like, "You're not supposed to wear brown shoes with a black suit." I'm like, I am. And I'm wearing a brown leather belt.
Here I am.
Yeah. So, it's something that, like I'd wear, my fancy watches, but I'd also wear, whatever my latest Garmin or whatever it was every once in a while too. And I think that's where the the more conservative, all black nylon with a little bit of accent thread, it kind of touches that same boat where there's plenty of people that they don't want a bright orange pack, a bright pink, a bright green. They don't want some crazy bright color. Time and time again, of all the colors we run, the black with the subtle orange is always the number one most popular pack, always, without exception.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what market you're in. People will tell me, oh, I'm from, wherever, Oklahoma. So people aren't going to buy orange here. They're going to buy red, or I'm from whatever state it is. Then I'm like, okay, well, that's just not accurate. Just so you know, I mean, this is what people are buying in your market. So it's funny how there's certain colorways we'll always have because that's always the most consistent.
Yeah, there's a question with cycling. What color's the bike snob or no? Well, he started off on his own stuff after a while, but what's the proper color for a bicycle? And he said, plenty, black, red, and white, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything else is amateur.
Yeah, I tell you what though, I'm all titanium anymore. I've recently switched to Ti, and I've
got a titanium bike. I love it.
Oh, I'm in love. Yeah. I'm in absolute love with my titanium bikes now.
Yeah. I had an option when I was getting a titanium bike. I had a choice, get a road bike or a tri bike.
Yeah.
I got a road bike, which is great, but man, I should have gotten the tri bike in titanium and just, you just don't get quite the aerodynamics of carbon fiber, but the ride quality is so great.
It's amazing.
Yes. And now they're finding out more and more. The ride quality is everything. Especially if you're going a long ways. Yeah.
Yeah, I am an absolute love. I bought a Linsky Ridgeline 29er, a hardtail, and I just used it in Leadville this year. It was better than my $10,000 Specialized carbon fiber Epic I used last year that had, just various issues. And this thing, it's a hardtail. It was just as compliant. Yeah. I'm so amazed. I literally bought the exact same bike in a single speed version. And now I'm going to sell my other carbon fiber gravel bike, and I'm going to get it a Ti, probably a Linsky also. So it's I can't believe after racing mountain bikes and road bikes for so long that I have never had a titanium bike until this year. And now I'm like, why did I ever not buy one? It's that's crazy.
I don't ride mine enough because, I'm always on a tri bike, and every time I get on it, it's incredible. It's so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I've heard you on some podcasts, and, you're a fantastic guest and now a host, right? So you've got your own show. So tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I started the Orange Mud Adventure Channel podcast last year, about a little over a year ago, and we've recorded 44 episodes now. And so one of my big beefs with running and biking is that the two sports often don't like each other. So I wanted to bridge the gap between run and bike. That was really my hidden agenda of everything I've been doing. We call it, the Adventure Channel because it's all about adventure and endurance and how to become a better athlete. But the hidden goal is I wanted to get people into doing both. I believe more runners. I know so many runners that are injured all the time. All my ultra running friends, it's like they're constantly injured. My foot's broken right now. I'm unhappy about it because I'm running Leadville 100 this weekend, and I jacked up my metatarsal running down Pikes Peak 3 weeks ago, and I'm just freaking livid. But it's, at least for me, I was following my mantra. I've been mostly biking, running less, and I still end up injured. But all my friends that run all the time, they're always injured. Plantar fasciitis, sciatica, you name it. There's always something. It's like, ride your freaking bike. So that's why we really started. I wanted to bridge the gap between run and divide. I want to show everybody we're all out there for the same reason. And I wanted to show people that there's a lot that we learn in endurance cycling that crosses over into endurance running. There's a lot you learn in endurance running that crosses over into endurance cycling. And that just goes through a lot of other sports. And it's been so much fun because, you get to chat with so many different people. I've had a lot of really amazing guests on that, when I was doing the Leadman series in Leadville last year, I had the race directors of Ken and Mara Lee on, and it was really neat to learn the history and about the course and what some things to do, what not to do. And digging into ketogenic diets lately. I've been kind of into that. So I've been bringing people on about that. And so it's been, I thought it was going to be a lot of work, and it is, but
it's so much fun though.
It is really an enormous amount of fun. There's so many calls I get off and I'm like, wow, that was awesome. But the downside to it is that you can interview people that can inspire you too much sometimes. And so like last year, we interviewed this guy, Cyril, he's a psychopath. And I say this in the best of way. He set the world rowing to Hawaii from California in 42 days. And it's like it's a fascinating story. But my retail manager, Paul, he did a lot of these podcasts with me in the beginning. He was so fascinated by it, he quit his job. And like, he told me, he's like, yeah, next summer I'm going to quit. I'm going to travel. I'm going to go to all the national parks and live in my truck. I'm like, okay. And then run all the time. And he did. So, that's kind of the downside to some of these things, is that you can get inspired too much. And all of a sudden, you got your good people working for you, heading out to, go live their dreams. But that's obviously a good problem too. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's definitely been a lot more exciting than I ever thought it would have been.
I interviewed a guy a while back that swam the English Channel all butterfly.
Yeah.
And of course, the next thing you know, I'm out there doing butterfly, doing all kinds of stupid stuff, doing butterfly, on the verge of injuring myself because it's just so inspirational.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, wow. Yeah. It's absolutely great. You meet the coolest people in the, but with a podcast, you can get really amazing people on the air, like really successful in sports and business, and then pick their brains on what you're doing. James Altucher, have you ever listened to his show?
No, I have not. Okay,
so he's huge in the podcasting world, and he'll tell you straight up that he created the show really to the interviews aren't even real; they're just so that he can talk to celebrities.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, really, not just celebrities. They're celebrities because they're very successful. And so, big money market managers, productivity specialists and stuff. So he can get in the same room with these people and pick their brain on how, not really for his own advantage, but just because it's so fascinating,
Well, and I think, the reality is everybody has a story to tell. And a lot of times there's a lot more to like say for Orange Mud, even, there's a lot more to Orange Mud than just, we're not just making products to sell you. That's just not what it is. I want to give people the opportunity to explore and experience amazing things. And I think that, it's been an amazing journey to get there. And I think anybody can do the exact same thing, and it's fun to share that story in the background so people know that I'm not here to sell you products. That's not what we're here for. That's not a successful business. And I think if more people can understand the backstory of so many people, you'll understand that, oh yeah, maybe they're not just fast and amazing. Maybe they have some massive depression issues and they're more like you than you think. Or maybe they have, some terrible debilitating disease, but yet they're out there winning races, or they're out there leading a company, or they're doing something crazy. And that's often, I think, where podcasts are kind of neat, because you get this whole background that you never knew. But at the same time, that person may have a harder time driving somewhere, flying somewhere, having a meeting and sitting down and giving that talk, and even, just carving out the time. But it's a lot easier to say, okay, cool, let's schedule a podcast for an hour and 20 minutes and it's going to be good. So I do think that has been the fascinating part about, I listen to a lot of podcasts too. And it's kind of the fascinating part is that you get a lot of insight into so much more than what you would ever imagine. I mean, it's crazy. It's an eye opener.
Well, I've recently discovered this whole facet, I don't know what you would call it, genre of podcasts, some pretty big shows too, that are all about how to manage success, the way people have successfully managed their ADHD.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's fascinating. And they'll get guests on there that when they were growing up were a complete wreck, and then all the ways that they've that anybody could use, actually. There's like really handy stuff. And also I think I remember listening to you talk on a show where, as a kid, didn't you just like cruise around the countryside on trails and stuff like that? And in a way, like in the Kansas countryside over like lots of ground. And then in a way, aren't you, in my opinion aren't you just creating equipment to help others do the same thing? Cause like you found it so fulfilling as a kid.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's the things that, we did as a kid. Like, I don't know, we wouldn't even take water. We just drink from a creek.
I know.
I mean, seriously, I look back at some of that. Like we'd ride, I still remember riding to this town of Alma. It was 20 miles away from my house on gravel roads, but mostly on like cow paths. Like I knew all the pastures like the back of my hand. He was like, go fishing, hunting all the time and goofing off. And so yeah, we literally like my cousin and I rode on cow paths to town, and we only had to take the trails maybe last, I don't know, 6 miles, and on the gravel roads. And yeah, we just drink from creeks. We wouldn't even take food or anything. And I mean, it was 20 miles on the roads. Like, God only knows what it actually took on cow paths, let alone our crappy little BMX bikes. But yeah, so it's funny as you get older, you know, you're just trying to figure out how to make tools to allow you to do all the same stuff you did as a kid, but just do it more efficiently. And then, yeah, I'll fit everybody to where they can all do the same thing. And, you know, I believe everybody should be able to experience some amazing adventures, and think that, you know, we all get way too wrapped up in work, and even in our own business. You know, my wife and I, you know, argue from time to time about that, where I'm like, hey, you know, I'm going for a bike ride. She's like, oh yeah, I wish I could right now. I'm kind of busy. I'm like,
you can.
I am too.
Go.
I am too. This is why we do this. You know, we own this business. We have the ability to go out and go for a run at 2:00 because we can, because we should, because a lot of people should. And, you know, a lot of companies aren't very flexible with that. And I get it. It's challenging as a business owner. I get that side too. But, you know, I also will work late at night to catch up for that. And, you know, it's, I think if more people could just get outside and even go for a walk, for an hour, you know, half an hour a day, you would just have amazing, forget the health benefits. It's the psychological benefits that you can work faster, you can work smarter, you can work more efficiently. You're going to be a happier person. You're going to have a happier life. And it's just a simple thing. All you got to do is get outside. It's amazing what it can do. And I find personally, the gym doesn't do it for me. Running on a road does not do it for me. I like to be on dirt, and that's just my thing. But that
Mountain
isn't
biking.
everybody.
I do so much on the road or indoors on the bike trainer that, yeah, it really starts to wear on you. And the best thing is to go. I've got a sidewalk of all things. It's the closest thing I've got it goes through tons of trees, and it's the rejuvenating aspect of it is amazing. And then also mountain biking. And if I crash while mountain biking, that's even better.
I don't know about that.
Well, no, crashing here, you know, we're in the rolling prairie, you know, so no crash is that bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like going down the side of over a cliff or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for being on the show. And people can check out, obviously, Orange Mud. Go check out orangemud.com. They got, like you said, tons of different running packs and the talent. Go check out the sleeves and see what I'm talking about with the orange splatter. I mean, I did not see it until we started talking, and it really caught my eye. I was like, oh, that is cool. And then the orange piping on the black backpack is really pro looking. And
no, thanks.
And then, okay, so what's the name? Oh, wait, here's your podcast right here. It's right on the Orange Mud website.
Yeah, it's right on the header.
Subscribe to this one. Let's see. Oh, you've got oh, dude. Hey, this is nice. Yeah, as a fellow podcaster, you're. Whoa, I need to do this. This is great. So he's got. I'm talking to the audience now. he's got every episode listed out. It's very easy to read. It's hyperlinked, right? So you can just start listening.
Yep.
And then what you've done is the highlight of the podcast, like your main interview. Yep. Is in your orange mud color.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's very easy to read. It's like indexed. That is cool. Very, very cool.
And we've been slowly transcribing them. I have 23 episodes, I think, transcribed that I haven't even put up yet. I've only put up a few, but we do find a lot of people do ask for text. I've just been slow to upload it, but we've definitely had a very diverse audience between triathlon coaching, keto, doctors, psychological, depression. We had all kinds of crazy
things. Two people you got here. You got Tailwind founder.
Yep.
And then you've got Simon Ward, who's a big time
triathlon
coach.
Yep.
Cyril. We just talked about the endurance paddling. You've got I don't know if it's the founder of Infinite Nutrition, but that's a big nutrition company.
Yeah, Michael Fullen.
Primal Quest race director. And then, so you got all this. This is really, and it's so easy to read. You got the Dirty Cans of 200 race director. That's cool. That's a good interview.
That was fun.
And then,
it's a good race.
One thing I wanted to mention to you, since you're talking about diet, is I've gone back and forth with keto and such. Mm-hmm. And one metabolic wizard you might want to talk to is Rob Gray. I've been talking to him lately. He
Oh
won.
yeah,
He won Ultraman,
yeah, he would be
and
good.
he's got his own metabolic cart where he can measure on himself what actually burns fat and what burns carbs. Foods
What?
particular to him, yes. And he's figured it out how to do it for long distance racing. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. So I got to give him props. And
Nice.
then yesterday before my swim, I swim on Monday mornings, and then this morning, in my pantry I had leftover. I don't know when I bought it, but powdered MCT oil. Have you ever tried that?
No, I've heard of it, but I haven't
So
tried
what
it.
they do is they spray MCT oil on. It's a maltodextrin substrate, but it's very little maltodextrin. It's just enough to turn it to powder, right? So it's very low carb. So basically, what happens is you can carry it around a whole lot easier, and it's not going to leak and get all over the place. And they're tiny little scoops. You know, one scoop is like 70 calories or 20 something calories. Anyway, before yesterday's swim and also before this morning's run, I did about 75 calories of that. And it comes in flavors and stuff. And I put it in my coffee as they kind of market it as a creamer, you know?
Right.
And I had the most unbelievable level energy, and I would know, right? Because I'm always messing around with stuff, and I'm always comparing energy levels. You know, this one fuel versus. I'm like you, like I measure everything, and the MCT oil, somewhere around 70 something calories, a little while before you go work out, is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. You don't get a high and then a low. It was just super, super even. And people ought to check out one way I think it's kind of expensive, but I haven't actually purchased it in a while, so I don't know if the prices have come down. But powdered MCT oil is, for people that are trying to do like keto and all of those stuff, it's really.
I got to try that.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
I'm definitely rookie status right now with figuring out my nutrition again. I felt like I've had my nutrition so flawless for these last few years now, and now that I'm going keto, I think it's really screwing with me, and it's pretty
It'll do that.
It's pretty not good timing, given that I'm running 100 miles on Saturday. So, kind of a little bit upset about that. And I knew it. The thing is, I knew better. Yeah. I knew when I started doing this about 8 weeks ago, I was like, this is probably not smart, Josh.
No.
But I've never been good at being the smart guy.
So what, if you get Rob on, what he'll tell you is some sort of version of, you can go high carb right after a workout because your body stores it right in your muscles. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic for rebuilding your muscles.
Yeah.
And then as the hours fade, 1, 2, 3 hours away from your workout, you start doing low carb, high fat again. And then that sets you up so that your next workout, your muscles have plenty of glycogen, so that you have a good workout.
Yeah.
But in between, you're not really using that much carbs, but you're getting the carbs that you need. And you can eat all the carbs you want while you're training and like right after. But then after that, you go back to low carb. And I've been trying it over the past couple weeks, and it seems to be working really well.
Nice.
But
I'll have to hit him up, see if I can get him on. Yeah, I'd love to pick his brain.
The mistake that people make is they do low carb. What I was doing was low carb after the workout, somehow thinking I was training my metabolism, and then what you're doing is you're just tearing up your muscles because you're not, after a workout, your muscles need to be rebuilt, and you're depriving them of the fuel to do that.
Yeah. Huh. So. Yeah, and that's where I'm still pretty green with what I'm doing. I mean, we've been doing definitely low carb every day, but I haven't got the system down yet. Yeah. I haven't read up or studied it enough to, like, it's hard enough to get the diet right. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really is. Like it's and I cook from scratch every day anyway. Yeah. But it was a whole different twist to be like, okay, cool, let's, like, fruit. I love fruit, and it was really weird to eliminate so much fruit. And I haven't followed the diet perfectly because I really like apples. So I haven't been perfect, but it's for dinners though. I've got it down pretty good, but man, I've been making some awesome dinners. It's been so exciting, with cheeses, where I historically had back off on a lot of cheese, and now it's like cheese is your best friend.
Yeah.
But avocados I've become even better friends with, which has been good.
Oh, yeah.
But
Guacamole.
But like, yeah, it was So like last year in the Leadville 100, I saw a lot of ultra runners in previous races using avocados. So I decided to why eat an avocado when I could eat guacamole. So I made a Ziploc bag of guacamole. I left the cilantro out, but which I normally put in mine. But I just literally would open my Ziploc bag and eat just guacamole, and I had bacon in one pocket with my guacamole, and then in the other pocket I had blueberries or peaches. I alternated between aid stations, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing this year, and I'm really excited about it. So
there's a company called Holy Guacamole, and holy as in whole fruit.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you look hard enough, they make soft packets.
Yeah,
big,
true. I've seen that.
Big soft packets, like half a pound or quarter pound. Packets of guacamole, and what I've learned to do is you can cut the corner of them so it's just a tiny little hole, and then you can squeeze the guacamole out like it's cake icing. And then what happens is you can fold that over when you're done and put like a clip on it or whatever you want to do. And the guacamole inside, because it's got citric acid, because it's actually got like lemon and lime juice and stuff, it acts as a preservative. And it does not go bad for a long time. And you can just squeeze it out like it's fuel, like it's gel. Yeah. And eat guacamole. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So do you know, is there a metric with how many, tablespoons of guacamole per hour that most athletes should eat?
No.
I don't know this metric.
But people should know that, avocados, which is the ingredient, is I think they're kind of high in fiber. So you might want to kind of keep an eye on that and not pack your guts with fiber.
Really? I didn't know avocados were high in fiber.
Yeah,
I guess I never even looked at that.
Yeah, so I was struggling with the high carb, high fat, low fat, all that stuff until I talked to Rob, and he coaches this too. He's a professional coach in metabolism, and he now it all of a sudden started coming together. Like it's about timing and when to do it. So I'm glad I got you on.
Great.
To name drop him because I owe him a name drop for all the success that I've been.
Yeah, sweet. No, I pulled them up here and made a note in Evernote. I'm gonna have to follow up with them for a podcast for sure.
Yeah, cool, awesome, man. Well, it's been great talking to you.
Likewise, brother.
And I feel like you and I come from the same kind of background there. So this is really, really great. Glad to have you on.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right, you got it, man. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you very much, Josh Sprague. And you can definitely go check them out at orangemud.com and support them. Good stuff. He's a fun guy to talk to. And let's see. I am sitting at my computer right now in my training cave. I've got 2 bikes, a treadmill, and 4 fans. 1, 2, 3, 4 fans sitting around me. One of them is remote control. Oh, it's the best. That way I can change the speed while I'm on the bike without having to get off the bike. But the deal is I'm sitting in the training cave and I'm waiting for a phone call, a Skype call, and I'm going to interview Jocelyn McCauley. I don't like to promise things before they happen, for sure, but it is cool. We'll see if we can get this interview done. She's heading off to Hawaii, I think, next week, and we're trying to get this interview done. She's a long-time, awesome supporter of ZenTri. I've got a really funny story about how I met her, that if we get this interview to work, then I'll talk about it on the next episode. But she got 10th at Kona, and there's a formula for winning Kona. Is usually people first get like top 10. They work their way up to 10th, and then like 5th, and then 2nd, and then boom, win. It takes a while to figure out Kona. In my opinion, it takes a while to figure out how not to react to everybody else and just do your own race. You kind of got to get over it a little bit first, and then you can race as much and as well as you can. So we have that coming up, and I think that's about it for this episode. If you want to support ZenTri, you find all these tips and info. I got a lot better stuff than what I've given just in this show coming. But if you've enjoyed ZenTri and you want to keep supporting or start supporting ZenTri, you can go to zentriathlon.com and there is a PayPal support button. I like it even better than Patreon. I don't know why. I guess because I've been doing it longer and I got a little bit more control over it. But yeah, there's a way to support the show. Go check it out. Go over to zentriathlon.com and check out the PayPal button. You can do a recurring donation or a one-time donation. I really, really like doing that. I love sponsors. Sponsors are the best. But sometimes it's nice just to do your own thing completely and then get the people to sponsor you if they enjoy what you're doing. So let's do that. Okay, that's it for this episode. Everybody stay safe out there, and you know what's going to happen next. Work the uphills, cruise the downhills, and keep the rubber side down. Out.